Hey Astro Kids, and welcome back. And in today's video, we will be talking about what it looks like to have your moon within the sign of Aquarius. So let's go ahead and jump right into this. So similar to our previous videos within this Vedic moon sign series, we will be discussing briefly the different nakshatras that your moon can fall into, but we will not go into great depth. We will cover that in future videos. Now, before we can even get into what the moon in Aquarius is all about, we have to understand first what is the moon all about, and then what is the sign of Aquarius all about. So the moon is the ruler of the sign of Cancer, which is our original fourth house of the natural zodiac. The moon is all about our comfort, our security, as that fourth house is where we receive our comfort and nourishment, along with luxury, comfort, the mother, the home. All of this is attached to the moon. And so the moon also shows our relationship with our mother, along with our material and physical security. The moon is also our state of mind. It is representing the way that we think and feel, along with our reactions and responses. And the moon is connected to our intuition and our imagination, which also connects it to our creative and artistic skills. The moon is the way that we are behaving, as those feelings and thoughts are creating all of our various different behavioral patterns throughout life. And so the moon is creating all of these fluctuations and changes within our lives. And wherever the moon is in the chart, we see these fluctuations and changes happening. The moon's strongest position is going to be in the fourth house. That is where it is directionally strong. The moon also feels most comfortable within the sign of Cancer and the sign of Taurus. Now, what is the sign of Aquarius all about? Well, Aquarius is quite an unusual sign here within the zodiac, as it is controlled by two planets. The first planet that Aquarius is being controlled by, similar to our previous video, is Saturn. Saturn is giving the discipline, the structure, the practicality, the realistic approach to life. It is connected to the world, the society, the rules, the principles. Saturn is all about creating structure and discipline and getting us towards our long-term results. Now, Aquarius is also controlled by Rahu. Rahu is a bit different, as it is one of our shadow planets. And in particular, Rahu is our illusionary planet. It controls all illusions and all the mystery within life. Rahu puts up smoke screens, right? It is connected to our material desires, our ambitions. But one of the things that Rahu shows us is that at the end of the day, once Rahu gets us towards our goals, our ambitions, our achievements in life, there is a lack of satisfaction, as these are things that are only temporary and are not going to last, right? As we die, as we leave this world, we cannot take those physical things with us. So Rahu does have a factor of this lack of satisfaction, these unfulfilled desires. But Rahu will give you everything. It gives you your desires, your ambitions, your largest dreams in life. And Rahu is a very clever and cunning planet, very strategic and calculated, able to cut corners and to think outside of the box, making it one of the most unusual and rebellious planets within the entire zodiac. So we have this confliction between Saturn and Rahu that is creating this energy here of Aquarius. Now, Rahu is also representing explosions, endings, which is giving this very unexpected and radical nature behind the sign of Aquarius as well. When we blend these two energies of Saturn and Rahu together, all together with this being an air sign, giving this a very windy effect, These are individuals who are restless, who are changing, who are constantly in this state of movement. There is a wandering nature behind the sign of Aquarius. And these are people who are highly intellectual, experimental. The sign of Aquarius is all about trying new and unexplored territory. It is exploring the unknown, going beyond, remembering that Aquarius is our second to last sign in the zodiac. We're starting to leave the physical and to go beyond. And so here within the sign of Aquarius, there's this very unusual and eccentric nature of exploring the unknown, going into the unusual here within this sign of Aquarius. At the same time, this is a sign that is still very practical, very strategic, very intellectual. It is grounded in reality. And so with these two conflicting energies, we get a very scientific nature, as these are people who are looking to explore all of the possibilities, but are still grounded in reality at the same time. So these two conflicting energies, very interesting here within the sign of Aquarius. Now, along with this, Aquarius is our original 11th house of the zodiac, making it a very friendly sign as well. That 11th house being connected to our large social gatherings. And so there is a very friendly nature, a very sentimental nature behind this sign of Aquarius, yet it is not super emotionally attached. These are people who can be very much detached, as Saturn is again this ruler of this planet. Similar to what we said in the previous video, where those who have their moon in Capricorn can detach from their feelings, we see the same thing happening here with the moon in Aquarius. There is a very mystical and illusionary factor behind the sign of Aquarius. And so there is this ability to be very elusive, to be very difficult to read, to not fit into the norms of society. And so what happens when the moon comes into the sign of Aquarius? Well, we get this very scientific and experimental mind, an individual who is able to explore all of the different possibilities, who is constantly in this state of searching, of learning, of exploring in various different avenues. We get a high level of intellect here within this position. This also gives a very eccentric and unusual nature. These are individuals who are very independent and who are able to function in their own unique way that does not fit within the strains of society. These are people who can be very difficult to understand or to read or to be able to place into any sort of label or group here within this position. Also, once again, on that emotional side, we can get a very detached nature. Unlike the sign of Capricorn, though, with the rulership of Rahu here, there is a bit of a sentimental nature that is behind Aquarius. Aquarius is known as the humanitarian of the zodiac, and so is the sign of Pisces. We'll get a little bit more into that as we move into those nakshatras. But Aquarius is a humanitarian in the sense of standing up for social justice and using knowledge and skills to help others. Pisces is more on the side of healing and using emotions and sentiment to help others. So we get more of this practical intellectual nature in terms of how can we help humanity? How can we make a difference on the world? This is huge here, where those in this sign of Aquarius are very good in terms of fighting for social justice, standing up for the underdog, dealing with worldly issues is huge here. And these are individuals who can even go against the law or do things that are against the strains of society in order to do what is right. So along with this, we have to understand what is influencing the moon, as this can have a great effect on the moon. The moon is already neutral, and we have to understand that the moon has certain relationships to other planets. The moon sees no planets as enemies. The moon is great friends with Mercury and the sun, but remains neutral to the other planets. And so the moon views Saturn and Rahu, rulers of Aquarius, as neutral. And so we get this neutral effect where these are contrasting energies. And so there is a negative or positive effect that can play out. This is an energy that can be easily influenced by other factors within the chart. And so we have to see what house is this moon in? How is it being aspected by other planets? Are there other planets that are joined with this moon? We also have to understand what is going on with both Saturn and Rahu within the chart. This is going to give us a better idea of what is going on with this moon in Aquarius. Along with that, we have to understand the nakshatra. And within each zodiac sign, there are 3 nakshatras. And so we have to understand what nakshatra is this moon falling in, as that is going to further divide these qualities of Aquarius, giving us various personalities within the sign of Aquarius. And so those who have their moon within the first nakshatra falling in the sign of Aquarius will have their moon within Dhanishta. And we talked about this a little bit already, as Dhanishta started within the sign of Capricorn and is finishing out here within the sign of Aquarius. And this Dhanishta nakshatra is all about divine symphony. Those who are falling within this nakshatra are very good in terms of doing things within the right timing. And so there is this very patient and strategic approach to getting things done, waiting for the correct moment to strike and to go after those goals. Along with that, there's a very harmonious nature. These are people who fight for social injustice, who stand up for the rights of others. And so here we get a strong nature of focusing on those worldly issues, focusing on the goodness and making sure that others are taken care of within the world. These are people who have a difficult time watching the injustices within the world and make excellent social justice warriors. Now, those who are falling within the second nakshatra of Aquarius are falling within Shatabhishak. And Shatabhishak is within the heart of Aquarius. And so this is a very unusual and rebellious nakshatra out of all 3 of these nakshatras within Aquarius. There's a very independent nature here for those who are falling in this nakshatra. Very restless, and especially with the moon controlling the mind, there's a constant searching and looking and exploring of the different possibilities here within this nakshatra. This is known as the 100 stars. And so there's this need to look into the things that are beyond. These are people who may be stargazers, who may be interested in exploring space, interested in astronomy, interested in all sorts of mysteries and deeper knowledge, wanting to explore it in great depth. Here we also get this very eccentric nature. These are especially people who have a difficult time fitting into groups, and it can be very difficult to label or to understand them. There can be a tendency to wear unusual colors or to be seen in a very unusual way. The behavior behind this is very rebellious and unconventional. Those who are falling within the last nakshatra of Aquarius are falling within Purva Bhadrapada. And this nakshatra is beginning in the sign of Aquarius and spilling over into the sign of Pisces. And this nakshatra is all about the humanitarian aspect of Aquarius, along with Pisces, as it continues over into that sign of Pisces. And once again, Aquarius is more of the intellectual side, using those skills, using the knowledge to help others, standing up for the underdog, standing up for the rights of others, where Pisces is more about empathy, about helping others with compassion and generosity. And so we see more of this generous and helpful nature through the mental plane, through what is practical, what makes sense, what is grounded in reality. Once again, this being controlled by Saturn. These are individuals who are extremely rebellious and are very independent spirits. These are people who also tend to have a dual nature to them, as the symbol of this nakshatra is of 2 swords or 2 men. And so this is representing the dual nature of this personality, where those who are born under Purva Bhadra may have interest in something that is more practical, more down to earth, but at the same time may have an interest in something that is spiritual, something that is mystical. They may have some sort of hidden talent or skill that others don't know about. So we get this dual side to those who are born under this nakshatra, which makes them even more mysterious and difficult to read, a very strong quality of this sign of Aquarius. These are individuals who also are very much focused on social justice, helping others. Once again, this is represented by the 2 swords. These are people who fight for the rights of others and stand up for the underdog. Humanitarianism is very important to those who are born within this nakshatra. These are people who are also skilled at doing the work that requires certain skill sets and the hard labor, the things that others are unlikely to do. There can also be a very dark nature behind those born under this nakshatra. Here we especially tend to see lots of tattoos and piercings and dark outfits. There is this swing towards being eccentric and rebellious, very strong here within this last portion of Aquarius. So this has been my interpretation of what it looks like to have your moon within the sign of Aquarius. I hope you all enjoyed this. If you like this video, feel free to leave a like as well as a comment. If you are new to this channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button along with the notification bell so that you don't miss out on any new content. And once again, we will discuss those nakshatras further within a future video. If you have any additional questions, anything you'd like to add, if you have anything you'd like me to bring up in a future video, just leave it down below in the comments and I will get back to you. I want to thank you all so much for joining. I hope you all have a great day and I will see you in the next video.